It's hour number two, live and local now. Kevin Wall with you until noon. Good to have you with us. You know, on this program, we talk a lot about education. And a lot of times, what we talk about isn't really very positive. Yes, we've got problems in our system of education in the Silver State. And what I love is that now that we have gone statewide with this program, we're heard in Reno, in Carson City, in Minden, in Gardnerville. We now have a statewide platform to talk about education on a big scale. One of the things I love about corporate America, and it's something that a lot of people don't end up finding out about, believe it or not. We always think of big, bad corporate America, but big, bad corporate America does a lot of good things. One of those good corporate citizens is City National Bank. They have awarded a record number of teacher literacy grants to educators all across the Silver State. And in fact, in the 4 states where they're giving away these literacy grants, they've given away over $115,000. And joining us now is Paul Stowell. He's the Senior Vice President for City National Bank. And he joins us. How long have you been doing this program? I love this program and programs like it. How long have you been doing it?
This program's been going on for about 8 years now. And, we've now awarded close to $1 million over the last 8 or 9 years to quite a few teachers. I mean, this year was $115,000 to 125 teachers across 4 states. And in Nevada, there was 20 teachers between Northern Nevada and Southern Nevada. And those grants are funding a lot of great programs, Kevin, that are teaching our children more about literacy. You know, as a corporate citizen, obviously, it's important to give back to the community, but we rely heavily upon an educated workforce. And so if our students aren't literate and they can't pass those proficiencies and they can't do well, then we don't get an educated workforce. But there are great things, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of times we hear the bad things. And yet there are so many great things going on through this program and others that we do and other good corporate citizens with schools. And we have a great teacher here today that we awarded one of the literacy grants. But there are great things going on in this community, and it just pains me to see so many people hear the bad things and not the good things. And we've got a school right here in Las Vegas that is doing some great things, and that's West Career Technical Academy. And Snehal Bhakta, the teacher here that is with me, can really talk about the grant we gave him. As a $1,500 grant to implement a digital library.
Snehal, thanks so much for maybe playing a little hooky here. I know you guys are back working again. Talk a little bit about the grant. How did you? What's the process that you use? You have to file a grant application. How many hoops do you have to jump through, and then finally you get the cash grant? Talk a little bit about the process of how you got it.
Okay, sure, Kevin. This is actually the second year we've been awarded this grant, and the application process is an online application, which, being a technology person, I just love. So you fill out an application and basically describe what you're going to use the funds for and how it's going to benefit students in regards to literacy. And for the most part, City National Bank does a very nice job as far as letting creativity flow from the educator's perspective on what types of ideas and things that they can apply for. So the grant that I had applied for was a digital library, digital literacy grant. I've recognized with my own daughter that students these days they're so technologically focused. They got those rectangular devices in their hands all the time, playing games, watching YouTube videos or whatever. And really, I wanted to use the grant to really show students, not only high school students, but elementary students, that, hey, you can use technology to learn how to read, to really get a love of reading, and to really help others with literacy and apply it to all the different fields out there to really kind of help prepare them for later on in their educational career. And like Paul said, to help prepare them to be ready for careers down the road.
Let me ask you, a lot of people badmouth education in this state. There are a lot of good things going on. Can you talk about some of the stuff going on at your institution and maybe some of the things that people just might not know?
Sure. Some of the things, our academy, West Career and Tech Academy, we're part of the a CTA or CTE magnet program at the schools. All of our students actually apply to get in, so it's kind of like a college prep program. We get students from all across the metro area, so it's a very diverse population. And being a very diverse population, there's a lot of issues that we address and tackle. Case in point, right before spring break, we did a PBL, which PBL stands for Project-Based Learning. We did a project to honor World War I veterans. Because last year was the 100th anniversary of World War I. So we did a project. We invited veterans in and really kind of showed them and really kind of opened the students' eyes to say, hey, World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars, but why didn't it? To really kind of give students that perspective. And yeah, I mean, we hear a lot of negative stuff about education, but really, Clark County School District, we're doing a very good job preparing students to really succeed when they get out of school, to be college and career ready. So some of the other programs that we have, besides the literacy grant, a couple weeks ago was actually Nevada Reading Week, and we actually had the opportunity to video conference different schools and actually having older students read to younger students to really kind of spur that love of reading. And almost give those students that opportunity to, hey, here's what the real world is like, being a consultant, actually working with someone else where you have to take charge and actually lead an effort or a movement.
Again, that is Snehal Bhakta. He is a teacher in the Clark County School District and one of the recipients of the City National Bank Teacher Literacy Grants. Paul, let me ask you, there are other programs that you have at City National Bank. In fact, even things like gardening. Can you talk about some of the other programs?
Absolutely. But I do want to say real quick, and Snehal is not really bragging on West Tech. I've been involved with it since the day it opened. In fact, Tom Warden from Howard Hughes Corporation got me involved with that school before it actually opened. And once it got open, I was appointed to the HSB Advisory Council Board from that school. And I've been involved. I've been judging a lot of PBL projects over the years. But I can tell you, this school has a sister school in Columbus, Ohio, and it outperforms that school that's been around, I think, 2 or 3 times longer than West Tech. And that's the thing that doesn't get communicated. The other thing that kind of bothers me, and you talk about how people perceive the school district, but yet Sunrise Mountain High School, one of the most at-risk schools in this city, last year there were several students that qualified for a national competition. 77 applicants. They won that national award. They went to Seattle. These were aerospace-type students that went to Seattle through Boeing, and they won this national competition and ended up building an airplane. And the sad part is that our local media didn't cover that, but the Seattle media did. And this is something that I think our community needs to know, that we have great and brilliant minds with students in this community. In fact, another thing that kind of grates on me a little bit is several years ago, we had the National Principal of the Year. The top principal in all of this country was in Las Vegas at a middle school here. Didn't really get recognized that much. So there are great things going on. But you talk about literacy and how we're taking it to a different level. We've partnered with Helen Jetstrup Elementary School here recently in helping them fund what's called a literacy garden. And you think, gosh, helping students grow a garden. But when you think about it, they learn how to start a business. They learn math skills. They learn how to plant, science, horticulture, all those things that fall into the literacy category. We've opened up these teacher literacy grants to be more than just English and reading. It's now math and science, because there's a lot of things that envelop literacy through other areas than just reading and literacy.
Again, Paul Stowell, he's Senior Vice President at City National Bank, both in northern and southern Nevada. Also joining us is Snehal Bhakta, a teacher in the Clark County School District. We did invite a teacher from northern Nevada. We couldn't coordinate schedules. We'll try and get them on at a later date. Stick around. We got a lot more to do. We're talking education, and we're talking about positive stuff about education, not the negative stuff, not the, being 49th or 50th in the nation in different categories. We're talking about the good side of education in Nevada. We'll do more of that coming up in just a minute. My name is Kevin Wall, all across the Silver State. You're listening to Live and Local Now. It's live and local now. Kevin Wall, Tuesday edition. We're talking education. And as you know, on this program, we talk a lot about education. We've talked with the former state superintendent of schools, Jim Guthrie. We've talked with a lot of folks involved in schools. And a lot of times the talk's pretty negative. And we've talked a lot about the governor's $1.3 billion tax increase for education. And sometimes the talk about that is pretty negative. But we've discovered a program, City National Bank, the folks at City National Bank, both in northern and southern Nevada, they're involved in a teacher literacy grants to educators. And we've got a great teacher, Snehal Bhakta, and he knows IT. He got a $1,500 grant. And tell me exactly what you're using the $1,500 for, the project that you're working on.
Sure. Kevin, what we're using the money for is basically to have our students research different apps that students can use to learn how to read, to write, learn how to do math, and basically as they're researching their apps, they're kind of becoming a consultant. You know, if a consultant would be out there in the real world, trying to figure out what's going to be the best use, the most efficient use of this app for a student to use to have them learn how to read and write, different things like that. So once they research those apps, we use some of those funds to purchase some of the apps, do some trial and error. We use those funds to basically offset costs for transportation to the different elementary schools where we're actually implementing this program. We're actually showing students, hey, they can use mobile devices to do more than just watch videos or to play games on. They could actually use it to enhance their education, really help students engage themselves with the technology. So
this is not just touching a couple or 3 or 5 students. This could be touching a lot of different students.
Right. This is the, in essence, almost 4th year we've done this. 2nd year that we've gotten a City National Bank grant for it, and each year we're just building upon the program. First year it was just one classroom. Last year we actually did an entire grade level of 6 different classrooms, and this year we're working on trying to do several elementary schools.
Again, joining us, the Senior Vice President for City National Bank, Paul Stowell, who joins us. Paul, I know that you folks have given away over $115,000. And just so people know, is this coming out of stockholder funds? Is this coming out of the general fund of City National Bank? Where does this money come from?
You know, that's an interesting point, Kevin, because I love to tell people this money actually is not coming through City National Bank per se and our philanthropic or charitable outreach budget, which is substantial and very significant. But where this money comes from and a lot of our educational programs, it comes out of what's called City National's Reading is the Way Up Foundation. And that foundation is funded through our colleagues at the bank. The employees of City National Bank actually fund that through what's called our annual workplace giving program. And last year, we raised from our employees, there's 3,600 colleagues at City National Bank, and last year we raised over $1.1 million from our colleagues through this workplace giving program. And so the teacher literacy grant is funded through our colleagues and that foundation. We also have a program that I'm very proud to announce and talk about is our holiday book drive with Barnes & Noble. Every year we do from December 1st through January 1st, we partner with Barnes & Noble. Anyone that goes into their stores during the holidays can buy a book and donate it to this program. And then what we do is we come in with Barnes & Noble and we match the number of books. So last year they collected 32,500 books. We matched it with another 32,500, which was 65,000 brand new books totaling over $200,000 that were awarded to schools in 5 states. There were 33 elementary, middle, and high schools that received these books. And what's interesting is we talk about digital, and Snehal's been talking about digital, and that's great. But guess what? These principals, when they get that matching grant to go in and purchase more books from Barnes & Noble through City National from this holiday book drive program, guess what they go in and buy? They buy more books. We tell them they can buy Nooks, they can buy all the electronic digital equipment that they want, but they all tell us we still want books because that's kind of a dying breed right now, is books are starting to fade from libraries. In fact, we partner with the Meadows School. And you know, a couple years ago, you'd walk in and see this beautiful library. Now you walk in, there's no library with all these books anymore. It's all digital. And so, you know, I believe, and I'm old school, I believe that there should still be a balance between technology and being able to hold a nice book in your hand and reading it.
I love that. I want to ask one more thing about some of the programs. The program that I'd love you to talk about just for a minute. I've only got like 3 minutes before we got a break. The financial literacy. What is financial literacy?
This is another great program through our Reading is the Way Up Foundation. It's called Dollars and Cents. And this is literally a financial literacy program that teaches K through 12 financial literacy, how to open a checking account. Actually, even on the kindergarten level, we go in and it's all taught by our colleagues. Our colleagues at the bank go in and teach financial literacy, and you can teach a one course, you can teach multiple courses, it's age appropriate. But what's interesting is even at the kindergarten level, you go, how can you teach them financial literacy? Well, guess what? You can go in and read a book called How Much Is That Doggy in the Window and teach very basic fundamental principles about finance. But then you get to the 12th grade level and you're teaching about lending, you're teaching about identity theft, credit card, all of those things that will help prepare them to get out into the real world and become a productive citizen and adult, because I believe that if more financial literacy was taught in the classroom years ago, maybe this country wouldn't have gone through the worst economic downturn and recession we experienced these last several years.
I think it's absolutely amazing. Snehal, thank you so much for coming in, and congratulations on the grant. Thanks for all the work that you do. Paul, thank you, my man. You folks at City National Bank, you just hit it out of the park.
Thank you, Kevin.
More coming up. It's live and local now. Coming up, we're going to talk about Rand Paul. Yes, he has finally announced we now have 2 candidates in the field on the Republican side. I think Chris Christie may be coming up in the next day or so. That'll make 3. Who else wants in when it comes to the Republican primary race? We're going to find out. My name is Kevin Wall. The program, live and local now.